She's not what you'd expect. She's tough and feisty, but gentle and tender. She makes millions and gives millions to the poor. She cries, she laughs, she teaches, she comforts. This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. Hi, and I'm so glad that you chose to join us today. And today we're going to be talking about money, which for some is a very negative topic, and for others is an exciting topic. For others, it's an addictive topic. And for others, they're completely ignorant to the topic, which is exactly how I was 25, 27 years ago, where I had no financial upbringing at all. I didn't have any bit of understanding about money, how it should be used, where to put it, where not to put it. Investing, what in the world was that? I had no concept of that growing up on welfare with a drug-infested and violently abusive home. There was no talk about money other than this. We don't have any. That was the main topic, and a lot of fighting that happened because of there being a lack of money. That's what happens when you live on welfare. And I'm talking about welfare back then, friend. Come on. Welfare today is completely different than welfare when I was a kid. I remember my mom going through the grocery store with her little clicker, and seeing the price of an item and clicking it in and putting it in the cart and then going to the next item and clicking it in, going, whoops, we can't afford that. She had this little calculator clicker thing that told her when she was about to hit the end of the food stamps that she had that week to be able to blow on groceries. And so money was not a good subject. It wasn't really a subject other than we don't have any. We can't afford that. We don't have the money. We're always broke. That was pretty much the extent of the financial verbal education that we had. And the nonverbal investment education that I had, or actually not investment, but financial education, was blowing all that they made every week, living paycheck to paycheck. Even after my mom had suffered a terrible, tragic accident where my mom was a victim of, a broken neck. She was paralyzed from the neck down, was never to walk again. And she was the victim of doctors making decisions without consulting her first. So obviously there was a malpractice issue. And by the time I was 14, my parents had now changed their financial situation tremendously. We went from living in a little 800 square foot house on a very busy street on Grant Avenue in Redondo Beach, California, to moving up in Northern California, a place called Redding, California. Actually, it was outside of Redding. Palo Cedro, California had a population of like 700 people. But they then bought a house, and then they bought a Cadillac, and they bought a Jeep with a big camper on the end of it, and they bought a 34 Buick, and they bought a boat, and they built a barn, and they bought houses, and they bought a big old fat diamond for my mom's hand. Oh, and then we went from cheap pasta with just a little bit of margarine and garlic salt on it, to now steaks almost every night for dinner. And you'll never guess what happened. And that happened from the time I was 14 until I was 16 when I moved out of the house. What intensified was the violence in the house after the money came. The other thing that intensified was more fights about money, and they were still living paycheck to paycheck. Isn't that crazy? I remember after about a year of my family now living in this new way, and now we were shopping at JCPenney's instead of the thrift store or getting the hand-me-downs from the neighbor, the attorneys who fought for my mother's case and fought for the money that she received, they asked her how much she had left. She barely had anything left. So they took that money. They convinced her, listen, Darlene, you're going to be at this rate, you will be completely flat broke and back on welfare again if you do not allow us to take the rest of the money and put it into some annuities. Let us put it in a place where you're going to get paid every single month for the rest of your life. And sure enough, fortunately, my parents yielded to that really sound and wise advice. And therefore, my mom has had a consistent income since that time. And it's a very healthy income. But check this out. They still lived paycheck to paycheck. And as far as I know, it might still be going on. Paycheck to paycheck, running out before the month is even over. So isn't that interesting that you could go from like $500 a month on welfare, including food stamps, to $10,000 in a month and still living paycheck to paycheck? Unfortunately, that's how it goes for most of us. It really does. That's how it did for me when I first started in my first business. Yeah, I remember making my first $4,500. I blew it all on clothes. I did. Isn't that crazy, nuts, and stupid? And then my next income, I started to grow my income and got it up to $11,000, and I blew it on some business expenses and some more clothes. And then once I then totally messed up, I maxed out my credit cards, traveling everywhere, which again, the travel was all for business seminars, and those were investments that I was making. But the clothes I didn't need. Do you know what I mean? And I didn't need to eat out every day. I certainly didn't need to eat out for lunch and dinner every single day. That was kind of stupid, and I did that on my credit cards. So if there wasn't enough money left of the $11,000 that I made that month, well, guess what? Then the rest of it went on credit cards. So, and where did I learn that habit? I obviously learned it from the home. My parents lived paycheck to paycheck to paycheck to paycheck, and always worried about and always striving for more money, and more money was never enough. Unfortunately, that's how a lot of people live. I'm not the only one, and neither are you. In fact, here's the facts and the statistics. 98% of the population will end up dead or dead broke at the age of 65, dependent on their family, friends, and federal government for their main source of income. Think about that, my friend. I know if you've listened to the show every single day, you've heard me say that a lot. But I don't want those words to just graze your ears. Think about those words. Do you want to be 65 and dependent on your family, friends, and federal government for your main source of income? Recently, we had a sweet, precious woman call in on one of the spiritual equipping shows, and where the second hour of that show, we just focused on slugging on heaven's doors with our listeners and crying out to God on their behalf and bringing their petitions, their requests before God. Well, this was an elderly woman who called in, and she says she's on Social Security, and Danny, I need a financial breakthrough because I don't have enough money to live off of. I don't have enough money to pay my electric bill. It literally broke my heart to hear that, because here is a woman that is in that age bracket that isn't dead at 65, but is alive, however, financially sick, in a place where she is struggling financially, and said, I have no one to help me. I have to figure out a solution. Do you want to do that? Come on, think about it. And I remember when I first heard those numbers, I thought to myself, well, I'm certainly probably going to end up in that bracket, because I don't come from money. I come from broke people. I'm not educated. I'm not smart. I hadn't even read a book yet at that time. Yes, I made it all the way through high school without reading a single book. So I just knew that somehow I'd end up in that 98%. And then I met a woman. Imagine this, you're at McDonald's, and there's a sweet, sweet, sweet elderly woman with that tight little curly white perm. And she's got her little McDonald's uniform on, and she's carrying a stack of trays that seem to be about half her size. She brings the trays over to one table. She sets them down. She wipes the table that is behind her. And then she picks up the trays, moves it to the next table, goes back, wipes the next table, wipes the sweat from her brow. I was so intrigued when I saw her. And I went up to her and I said, how long have you worked here? And she told me. And I said, do you like your job here? And she says, I'm just happy to have a job, honey. And I looked at her perplexed with my eyebrows kind of crossed, like, really? What do you mean you're just happy to have a job? She says, well, Social Security and our pension are not enough for my husband and I to pay our rent. So both of us have to work. I was like, what? Oh, man. I said, ma'am, could I ask you how old you are? She says, I'm 89. I'll be 90 next month. What? What? How could that be? This was in Concord, California, which is the suburbs, if you will, of the San Francisco Bay Area. And sitting there in that McDonald's, I'm 20 years old, and I'm looking in the face, the eyes, and the worn skin, the hunched up shoulders of that 98% that ends up either dead or dead broke at the age of 65. That day, my friend, when I saw the statistic face to face, I kind of made a vow. I don't want to end up like that. I kind of got upset, wouldn't you? What would you be thinking during that conversation? Right away, I thought, where are her children, her grandchildren, her great-grandchildren? How come nobody is taking care of them? They worked hard to take care of their own family, and no one is taking care of them. It broke my heart into tiny little pieces. But it helped me to make a decision that I needed to get serious about this 2% versus 98%, that I didn't want to end up dependent on other people or having to work when my body's broken down and I don't have the energy to do it. Being forced to work when I should be enjoying my great-grandchildren instead. So 2% of the population is financially independent. Only 2% out of all of the people in this great place, in this current world, 2% will be financially independent when they reach that age of 65 and over. Where do you want to be? How are you going to get there? Well, today I'm going to share with you a few little tips, a few secrets that can really improve your finances and help maybe you and me both to think more like investors. Because I've got to be reminded each and every week myself about my finances, because it's really easy to get off track and to get sucked into how everybody else is living. We live in this culture that loves conveniences. We love things fast, and we love to have options. So that culture is pressing in on me just as it is pressing in on you. But we've got to have a financial vision that is bigger than our conveniences, bigger than our options. We've got to learn to think like investors and to see money as they do, as 2% of the population does. They see money as seed. They see money as seed. And seed is designed to grow. It comes with everything that is needed to reproduce itself. So we're going to get into some pretty in-depth conversation and helping you the best that we can. We don't have all the answers, but we might have a couple. We might have the one that you're looking for. My phone number is 844-200-3264. Now, friend, the lines are going to light up, and I want to make sure you get answered. You might want to write this number down now. If you have questions about investing or fears about that or things that you have invested into that really turned out really well, if you got any questions at all about where to put money, where not to put money, 844-200-3264. And how can you start young, right? Why do you have to wait till you're older? You don't. 844-200-3264. I'm looking forward to talking to you. This is Danny Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Making money does not necessarily mean you're creating wealth. That's coming up on The Danny Johnson Show.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Did you know you can see Danny Johnson live and in person? Go to DannyJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DannyJohnson.com/FSTS.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org. This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
What multimillionaire do you know that volunteers their time to help ordinary people like you and me? There's only one. This is The Danny Johnson Show.
You don't want to die broke, do you? And you don't want to struggle for the rest of your life financially, do you? Well, if the answer is, Danny, no way do I want to struggle financially. No way do I always want to be broke. And no way do I want to have this huge monster, green, hairy hulk of a monster called debt suffocating me at night while I'm trying to sleep. Well, friend, today is a day where you can make some new financial choices. Today is a day where you can have a brand new, fresh financial start. And that's what we're talking about today. How do we have a fresh financial start? How can we begin taking the steps towards thinking like an investor, learning how to invest, what to invest into? Do you have to be smart to be an investor? Well, I have barely a high school education. I've been an investor since 19. I made my first investment into business at the age of 19, not knowing anything about what I was doing. And I still don't know a lot about what I am doing. I just know the things that I've invested into and what I yielded out of it. What I can tell you is that by the time I was 23, I had made my first million in business. I've made millions of dollars since that time. I've helped many other people do the same. And at the very least, we've had so many, hundreds of thousands of our clients increase their incomes to the tune of multiplying it, doubling it, or tripling it, as well as some who have made the choice not to increase their income, but they, on the same income, have annihilated their debt, paying off hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of debt. So if you want help in this area and you're saying, no, Danny, I do not want to die broke. No, I don't want to be struggling financially for the rest of my life. And I certainly don't want to pass that habit on to my kids, then call me right now, 844-200-3264. Again, that's 844-3264. And if you have overcome the fear of investing, if you've overcome that, then we want to hear your story. We want to know how did you overcome and what areas did you begin to make investments into? Because I believe that you and I together, we can help a lot of people who are listening to this program from all over the world right now. And we can help to stop the bleeding that's happening internally and externally inside of the financial body of believers as well as the body of human beings that are out there. We do not need to continue bleeding internally and externally with financial decisions that help us to fail and help the next generation to fail. So over here, I've got on line 6, we have Leticia from Turlock, California. Turlock, California, girl, I've been there. It's beautiful and very hot this time of year.
Yes, it is.
Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you. My question is, what are the first steps to investing, and how do I determine which investments are best?
Okay.
I have a small business. My husband's job doesn't offer a retirement program, so we're looking at investing so that we can build our own wealth and not have to wait until, it's too late to say, where's all our money?
Okay. Well, how old are you?
I'm 29.
Yay, you're young. So this is a great question to be asking at 29. It's a great question to ask at 16. It's a great question even to ask at 69. But I'm proud of you that you and your husband are thinking along those lines and you're not dependent on your husband's job having an investment opportunity. And so that's very wise that you're actually asking this question. Leticia, are you a first-time listener to the Danny Johnson Show?
I'm not. I've dialed in a few times before.
Good. Okay. Well, I want to make sure that you've gotten your copy of First Steps to Wealth as a gift of being a listener on the show. Have you gotten your copy of First Steps to Wealth?
I got that when it was a free promotion, and
Woo!
I'm actually putting into use on how to pay down my debt.
Good job. Good job. Just wanted to make sure that you got a hold of that because there's a chapter in here on investing and where to start investing. And those 2 chapters on War on Debt are powerful with teaching you where to find the money to annihilate the debt and take a portion of that money and then start to invest it into different things. So anyway, to answer your question, the question of where do I start? Okay, well, first of all, where are your interests? What are you familiar with? Are you guys into real estate? Are you into gold and silver? What kind of things, let's say even historically throughout both of your family members, are you familiar with?
We're both not familiar with anything other than a 401k. I, like you, come from a very poor family, and my husband's parents do have 401ks, but they're also trying to find other ways to get income.
Right.
And we just don't want to be stuck in that position.
Yep. Okay. Well, then you sound like what my husband and I were. The answer is no investing history. That's what the answer is. So I got that. That's where we came from. So again, you got to cut your teeth eventually on something. And so the very first place I invested into was into business. I started my own business. And that was the very first time I took money not to buy something that I would wear or eat, but I would buy something, and I bought a business for myself is where I started with there. If that's not something that you want to do, if you got kids in the house or whatever, then hold on just one second. We got to take a quick break, and I'll give you a couple of other ideas of what we did that might work for you. This is Danny Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
In life, there is no free ride. Are you investing in your life? We'll talk about that on The Danny Johnson Show next.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
Prior to getting to Danny Johnson's First Steps to Success, my husband and I were completely broke. We just filed bankruptcy. We lost our home to foreclosure, and we were on food stamps. After the second day of her event, we figured out where all our money was going. We got ourselves out of debt in 3 months. We paid off $18,000 worth of debt and are completely debt-free. And now we've finally created a life of our dreams. We've made a 6-figure business, and we're just doing everything that we want. So if you're thinking about coming to First Steps to Success, you've got to make it happen. Sign up right now and make sure you don't miss it.
Prior to plugging into DannyJohnson.com, I was hopelessly lost in addiction. My relationships with people, coworkers, family, friends failed. I was struggling under the bondage of debt, and I had no clear vision or purpose for my life. After taking my first steps to success, I've been able to pay off $7,000 in debt in about 4.5 months. I have a clear vision and purpose for my life. I can honestly say that my addictions are a thing of the past. If you're interested in changing your life in whatever way, in whatever area, you need to log into DannyJohnson.com, and you need to be at the next First Steps to Success.
Prior to coming to First Steps, I was miserable. I never talked to people because I thought I was shy, I thought I was boring, and I thought that I was destined to be alone forever. After coming to First Steps to Success, I broke through all of those lies. I built confidence, and I used the skills that I've learned there to get myself an amazing job where I will be put quickly into a position of leadership. So if you're ready to find out who you are, why you are the way you are, and how to get new skills to dramatically change your life, you need to join me at the very next First Steps to Success. No excuses, no delays, get registered now.
Hi, my name is Paul. I'm from Massachusetts. And before plugging into DannyJohnson.com, I was buried under a sea of self-doubt, fear, and my communication skills were non-existent. Sales non-existent as well. But after attending First Steps to Success, my sales have quadrupled, my fear has been lifted, and my relationships are better than ever because I communicate better than ever. If you want your life to turn around, all your dreams start coming to fruition, you are going to be at First Steps to Success.
Prior to plugging in to Danny Johnson, my husband and I were drowning in a sea of debt. I had broken relationships all around me of the ones that I cared most about, and I had started a company that was losing more money than it was making. And after plugging into Danny Johnson, we have paid off $196,000 in 13 months. My company has grown 90%, and I have relationships that I could never have even imagined with the ones I care most about around me. So I don't know about you. Maybe you're making all the money you need to. Maybe you're doing great. Maybe your relationships are phenomenal. But if they're not, I encourage you to get to the next first steps to success.
And now, back to the Danny Johnson Show.
You know, sometimes we come from places that really don't give us a leg up or a springboard into learning about money. And that's exactly where we were. We didn't come from a family of investors or business people or anything like that. My side of the family, pretty much, there was a few people that had jobs and did a pretty good job holding them down, but there was a lot of people that couldn't hold down any jobs, and then a bunch of welfare recipients and drug addicts. So we didn't have a great start financially, but that's no excuse, because if you're in the same place and you didn't have a great start financially, meaning from the upbringing or the people that were around you, or you made some really bad financial mistakes in the beginning, it's okay. You can press reset, just like you can on your phone or your computer. This is a reset. Today is a financial reset where you can begin to learn how to navigate these beginning investing steps. And so joining me right now is Letitia from Turlock, California. Very hot place during the summer, but absolutely gorgeous. We were talking about that she came from a similar place that we did, and that she didn't have a lot of financial training. There's not a lot of investors in the family, so she wouldn't know anything about it. But so Letitia, and I'm proud of you, I really am, that you're asking this question. So the first thing that I invested into at 19 was a business. And was that to become an investor? No. I literally ended up in some type of a presentation that was selling businesses. And I borrowed money to start in that first business, and I failed miserably those first 6 months. And then I heard about some business training seminars that I could go to, and didn't have the money, but I invested. That was my next investment, was into my education. Not a college education, but from a millionaire who was successful in business. And so I began to study under him in a room with 300 other people, or 400 or 600, depending on where the seminar was and what time of the year it was. But anyway, so that was the next place that I invested, into learning about money, learning about business, learning how to communicate with people, because I didn't have a clue to save my life on how to talk to people or present something to them. So that was my second investment, was into education. And so if you and your husband are starting from that bottom level, like where do I start? I would begin to pick up books, as well as go to some training seminars that teach on investing. Make this something that you really get committed to. And I'm glad that you already have the book First Steps to Wealth, which is teaching you how to manage your money, how to pay off your debt, and how to take a part of that and become an investor. But investing really, it happens a lot through trial and error. It starts off a little shaky, and it actually, throughout your history, it will be shaky. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some. And so my third investment was a house. That was the third thing that I made a purchase into, and I've been my husband and I have been buying and selling houses for, well, since that time, 20-something years for me, 23 years for me. And my first property I bought when I was 21 years old. And that, by the way, was in San Ramon, California, not too far away from where you're calling in from. So real estate has been something that's been really profitable for us. We've made millions of dollars in real estate. And that's from, again, buying and selling and flipping houses, rental properties, which we've done okay on, land, purchasing raw land, letting, rather than having the money in the bank, we've had to learn how to read the market. And so that's a couple of ideas that I talk about in First Steps to Wealth. But you have to pick something, and you've got to understand that it's going to take a bit of an education to learn it. So start to learn. You have to learn both with money and experience, but also learn from other people that are doing it. And I'd be asking around, who do you know, or who can you meet that is an investor? I'm not talking about they work for Charles Schwab. I'm saying they're an investor. And so I would be networking. who do I know that knows somebody that makes investments, and how well have they done? And can you have coffee with them and start to learn? And that's pretty much what we have done. It's kind of worked out for us pretty well, to the tune of millions of dollars. I'm sure that it's going to work out really well for you too. So as long as you pay attention and you follow directions. So that's my answer, Letitia. Thank you so much for calling in and being a listener on the Danny Johnson Show. All right, we've also got Idalia from California. California's hot on the line actually right now. Idalia, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you. Well, my husband and I, we overcame our fear of investing into something that you don't normally hear about on TV or the mainstream media, and that's precious metals. And the way that we overcame our fear, well, we first heard about it from you at First Steps to Success, and it sparked our interest. And then we heard you advise someone to call Kirk Elliott. So we went ahead and called him, and he took the time, maybe an hour and a half of his time, to educate us on precious metals and why that is a good investment over the phone. So we continue to do our own research. We picked up a few books, and we completely overcame that fear. So we took our savings that were in the bank, and it was a substantial amount of savings that we invested everything into precious metals.
Wow.
And we are continuing to invest every month, and that's because of the education that we have gotten into as of late. So it's been really great.
Wow.
So thank you, Danny, for planting that seed.
Wow. Idalia, I'm so excited for you. That's amazing. And you know what's so powerful about this is that you now know to take the money off of the table so that it is not so easy for you to grab it to go shopping with or to go on a vacation with or to do something stupid with. You know what I mean? Because we have access to money, we have a tendency of doing dumb things with it. And so you're taking the money off of the table and putting it into something that's solid and historical. And so we've done a lot with precious metals. And honestly, I have to credit my husband on that. Because I remember when he came to me the first time, Idalia, it's a hilarious story. First time he came to me, he says, honey, he goes, I want to make a pretty big investment into buying some gold. And I'm like, really? Okay. What do you mean a big investment into gold? Are you like thinking like $5,000? Idalia. He's like, oh no, much bigger than that. I'm like, what? Talk about fear of investing into something that you don't know. So I'm proud of you that you and your husband broke that fear of investing into something you don't know, and you did it by education. And that really helps. Learning from other people, doing your own research. Yes, talking to an expert into gold and silver, but more importantly, cross-referencing that expert. You know what I mean? You don't just listen to everything that they say, but you got to research what they've said, get opinions from a few other people, and certainly don't be taking heed of the opinions of those that are not committed, because there's always somebody who bought a little bit of gold and went, it didn't work, it didn't work for me, that was stupid. They weren't learning. They weren't becoming an investor. And becoming an investor is going to take time and effort to learn, and the investment of money to master this skill. But mastering the skill of investing is what's going to help you to create wealth. And you guys have done this. So I was afraid completely. By the way, the number my husband gave me was $100,000 that day. My jaw hit the floor, bounced back up to the ceiling, went right, went left. I put my eyeballs back in my head and went, what? Oh my gosh, are you serious? But we went ahead and did it. And by the way, ching. We bought $100,000 worth of gold when it was $574 an ounce. Yeah, it's grown since then. In fact, it got up at one point up to $2,000 an ounce. So anyway, we did really, really good. And before it went up to really high, we've invested hundreds of thousands of dollars into gold and to silver, and that has proven to be great. And again, it's off the table. We're not touching it. It's just sitting there, and we know that through time, it goes up, it goes down, but at the end of the day, it's going to do well, for sure. Anyway, so good job, Idalia. I'm proud of you for breaking that fear. I've had to break that fear many times. All right, we're going over to line 2. We got Diane from Laverne, California. California is on fire. It's crazy. Hi, Laverne. Actually, I shouldn't say that, huh?
Hi.
We don't want California to be on fire again. I should stop saying that. Anyway,
no,
Laverne.
Not. It's not enough.
Yeah, no, you've had enough for sure.
So, anyways, I overcame my fear last December, and we are actually even in we have the opportunity to even think about investing because we have been clients of yours since 2012, and we went from being in debt to having a six-figure savings, and now we're trying to figure out how to make that grow.
Hold on a second, Diane. Wait. You can't just say that. I want to scream right now. Wait a second. So you came to First Steps to Success in 2012, and you guys had all this debt. Now you have six figures in savings? Wow. You're an animal.
We're actually $10,000 in debt, and now we have a six-figure savings account, and we're debt-free other than our mortgage. But because we're in Southern California, we're like trying to make our money grow first before we pay off the house.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's been exciting. It's been an exciting journey, and we're going to see you in August in Long Beach, so can't wait for that. But, so, yeah, my husband gave me a little seed money. He gave me $5,000 towards an idea that I had for a product. And, we could afford to lose $5,000, so we were kind of, totally uncharted territory for us. But I came up with this product, and I designed my own branding, and I've spent $4,000 of the $5,000 in a kind of a learning curve. I have been ripped off by a few people, which has been discouraging, and those are the obstacles that have come with my lack of experience.
Okay, hold on a second, Diane. We got to cut to a quick break. Yeah. Diane, I want to hear the rest of this story. Okay. And I know others are going, what was it? What did you do? This is Danny Johnson. We'll continue with more, and we're going to hear what Diane did and the learning experiences that she had right after this.
Next on The Danny Johnson Show, let's identify and overcome your excuses to invest in yourself and for yourself. Stay with us.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Danny, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
My name's Erin Hudson, and I'm from Huntington Beach, California. I just have to share with you, I never thought I'd be up here in a million years. And I have to tell you, my story is not my story. My story is to help each one of you, to give you a little bit more hope. And as I share with you my story, I apologize up front. I get really emotional. We have been through hell and back. And I share this with you again to really give you hope, okay? Prior to coming to First Steps, we had filed for bankruptcy in 2010. I was a broken woman. My marriage was in a downward spiral. My kids were completely out of control. My business ruled my life night and day. And then I found Danny Johnson. Since attending First Steps to Success in July of 2012, my marriage has been restored. My kids are now the most respectable, loving children to one another and to their parents. We never traveled anywhere. We now travel around the world and have traveled with many of you that we consider close friends. We've gone to Belize the last 2 years, and I've been able to share with my children and show them how to serve others that are in more need than any of us happen to be. On top of that, our biggest accomplishment yet, I would have to say, is last month we paid off the last of our debt, and we paid off in the last 2 years and 2 months, $892,000. Wait, hold on, and some cents. $892,522 of debt, and we are now officially business and personal debt free. I have to say, This core report that Danny's going to equip you with today is going to change you. You're going to become a phenomenal champion communicator. And just with what she's going to teach you this afternoon, we're projected to hit $1 million. And I know it's because of what she's going to teach you in this next portion. And without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce my mentor and coach, America's favorite millionaire, Danny Johnson.
And now, back to more of the Danny Johnson Show.
Are you scared to do something that is not normal for you? I understand. Most of us like to stay in our little comfort zone, and we like things to just, be scheduled and routine. I hate to tell you, but that's really how I am. But venturing out and taking risks, if it wasn't for my husband, there's a lot of risks I would have never taken. One of which was investing into gold and silver. Never would have done it. He came to me saying, hey, I want to invest some money, a lot of money into gold and silver. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, is that $2,000? Is that $5,000? Because to me, that was a lot of money. Even though we had made millions of dollars, but investing into gold and silver, $2,000 or $5,000, oh my gosh, it's so risky. We'd only invested into business and real estate at that point and did very well in doing that, but really he wanted to learn some other ways of, other avenues of investing to diversify our income. Well, yeah, $100,000 is what he said. What? Anyway, but we do. We tend as humans, many of us, tend to be a little bit risk adverse, and we like to just float down waters that we're used to. Well, joining me right now is Diane. She's from Laverne, California, and she's sharing that, and this is such a crazy story, that she came out to First Steps to Success 2 years ago. They had $10,000 in debt, and they learned there how to pay off all of that debt, and now they have 6 figures in savings. What? Which is amazing. And her husband gave her a little bit of seed money because she's wanting to learn to start investing into business. She took $5,000. She's invested into developing her own product. And now we're going to hear where it goes from here. So, Diane, so you said that $4,000 of it you invested into branding and all that kind of stuff, which, cracks me up. Do you have experience with that kind of stuff?
None at all. I did take a class.
Good job.
I took a class on marketing, like on social media and how to sell on Amazon.
Good job.
Different things like that, and I'm kind of learning as I go.
Yep.
I trademarked my logo. All of this has cost money.
Yes.
So, it's been a learning curve, and I have to, be willing to pay for my inexperience.
Yes. Hold on right there, because that's important, Diane. This is so important, and this is where people miss it, is that either you have the experience or you're going to pay for the experience. Experience costs money no matter what. It costs money. And so right before we took that break, you said, I've had a few people, kind of screw me over a little bit. Pat yourself on the back. That means you're doing something. That is supposed to happen. That's the part you need to know, is that, oh, wait a minute, I'm actually in business now. People are actually taking from me.
People are screwing me. I'm in business.
Exactly. That is part of the experience, and learning how not to get screwed over, and learning how to put some checks and balances in place, and learning how to ask more questions, and learning how not to just take everybody's face value, and learning how to read the contracts and what they say they are going to deliver, and how to hold those people accountable. It takes time and money to learn those things, but those things are very valuable, and you're getting an education. So you haven't lost anything. You are gaining experience and value that you'll bring to the marketplace. And that is what's important. And as long as you don't quit, you're going to succeed. You're going through the natural, chartered waters of the beginning of every business. What comes with it, Diane, is a little bit of doubt, by the way. Am I doing the right?
Yes, that's why I've been stuck for a little while. Mm-hmm. But one of the big obstacles is everybody wants to take everything and make it big right away.
Yeah.
Go to China, get, 500,000 units manufactured, and I'm trying to just be faithful with the little things that I've learned from you,
mm-hmm.
and just start small. And it doesn't seem like people are that interested unless you're going to be, mass producing things. So I'm fighting against that kind of mentality, and
have you had somebody that wants to buy your idea?
I haven't gone there yet, but those are the things that's why I'm glad to talk to you. Good idea. instead of me doing all the work that I'm not that familiar with, if I could sell my idea to somebody, that might be even smarter.
Yes, because if the people,
so I talk to an attorney,
you can. Here's what I would look at. First of all, the people that are advising that you go to China and you do everything mass scale, are these just friends and family members, or are these business people that want to be in business with you?
Business people. Some of them want to be in business with me, yes.
Okay. So then I would
be the ones that have also kind of scammed me. So
isn't that awesome? Well, then check off that list. Yeah. Next, I'm not going to be in business with that person. I wouldn't go into business with somebody that's already screwed you. That's stupid. But what that means is that you probably have a really good idea of a good product. And if you've already encountered interest of other people, then that means you might be onto something. And I would be looking at, wow, maybe I could sell this idea and somebody else can manufacture it. Maybe you could go into partnership with somebody that already knows how to do the manufacturing, already knows how to get prototypes, already knows how to do a test market. So those are important things to do. Every business we've ever started, we've always started really small with our own sweat labor. But we've also always gone to find people that know how to do things that we don't know how to do. And that's a very important business key to have. So if you recognize, hey, I don't have experience here, here, and here, well, then who do you know or who can you partner with that does have that experience, that does catch this idea, and then make sure you have a non-disclosure before you present those ideas so that they cannot steal your idea. Number two, you want to make sure and have a really good contract and have a great attorney that's going to be there to watch your back to protect you in that business arrangement. So that's be what I would do. So number one, good job for saving 6 figures worth of income into savings. Amazing. Number two, good job paying off your debt. Proud of you. Number three, kudos to you and your husband for starting off with some seed money and putting it towards an idea. And next and final, great job learning how to deal with business people, and great job having some people steal from you. That means you're doing something great. And that means you're going to learn how to protect yourself and to protect your idea and take it out to market. So you don't have to know how to do everything in business. But the key thing is to find others that know how to cover your weaknesses or your liabilities of what you don't know how to do. So it sounds like you're onto something really good, and I'm really excited for you, and I can't wait to hear how it turns out. That's all I'm going to say. All right, lady, thank you so much for calling. I appreciate you being a listener on the Danny Johnson Show. Yeah, thank you. Wow. I love it when I get to hear great stories like that. That's incredible. And you know what? That's the entrepreneurial spirit that I believe that is in all of us. It is. It's in every single one of us. The first humans on this planet, they had to be entrepreneurs in order to survive. They grew their own food. They bartered with other people that grew food that they wanted to eat, right? Some people did cows, some people did sheep, some people did crops. So they had to learn how to grow something, create value, and trade was their commodity. But through time, business is what really all of us have inside of us to be a part of in one way or another. So investing into business, I think, is very, very wise. I wouldn't be sitting in the financial situation that we're in today if I hadn't started in business at the age of 19. So if that's one place. So again, we're talking about investing. We're doing our best to field whatever investing questions that you might have. I do not have all the answers on it. I've got small-time investment girl who's made millions of dollars investing into some very specific places and some skill sets that we've had to learn along the way, as well as a lot of mistakes that we've made. So if you would like help in that direction, or if you've overcome your fear and you have made investments already, we would like to hear that story too. 844-200-3264. Danny, why should I invest? Because you want your money to grow for you. That's why. Instead of you being a slave to it, make it your slave. This is Danny Johnson. We'll continue after this.
Which came first, the chicken or the egg? If you're struggling with money now, can you invest now? Danny Johnson talks about that next.
Imagine living in a decrepit, unsafe hovel made of waste material on top of old mining tunnels that could explode and sink your home at any moment. Imagine no water to drink, no safe place to raise your children, no food for your starving baby. Imagine that your kids can't learn to read because they have to work to support the family instead of going to school. Could you imagine living in that kind of fear and hopelessness? This is exactly what families are dealing with in the poverty-stricken village of Santa Pancha, Nicaragua. These families can barely meet their basic food, water, and housing needs. We are transforming that village. Be a part of this miracle. I want you to go to the website now and learn how you can help. Go to kingsransom.org and click on Santa Pancha. There you can join with other warriors against poverty and help bring a miraculous transformation to Santa Pancha. That's kingsransom.org, kingsransom.org.
Did you know you can see Danny Johnson live and in person? Go to DannyJohnson.com and find out about our next live event. First Steps to Success. Register today. Call 866-760-8255 or go to DannyJohnson.com/FSTS.
We're back. Here's Danny Johnson.
Okay, so there I was in Las Vegas. What? Danny Johnson, you were in Las Vegas? I hate that city. I really do. And I will never do, or I better not say that, but I will not do a seminar. I will not do a business, finance, and relationship training seminar in Las Vegas. I just won't do it. I will not bring families to that city. I know you might be thinking right now, well, Danny, you shouldn't be saying that about life. Hey, it's my personal opinion. But anyway, there I was in Las Vegas. It's about 11 years ago, coming up here real soon, 11 years ago when we first started DannyJohnson.com. And I was speaking for a company. And this company, I was trying to vet this company out. I was trying to get to know these two owners. They were young guys, and they were very successful. They were very, very good at what they did. They owned an ad agency, and they brought me in to do some training to their salespeople. And so, anyway, the training ends, and they invite me to go with them to one of the tables. They are going to play blackjack, in fact. Anyway, these guys were badgering me, right? They were badgering me. There was a whole group of us that were there, all right? And I was trying to just study them, get to know them, see if there would be any kind of a business arrangement between us and them, and trying to get to see them after they've had a couple of cocktails, maybe, and see really what the kind of things are they talked about and how they conduct themselves, and see if I really want to be in business with them. So anyway, there we are. We're at the blackjack table. The president of the company buys $200 in what do you call those things? Not coins, chips. And the dealer puts it in front of me, and I said, I'm not playing. No way. He says, you have to. I just bought those chips. Those are now yours. You got to play. Well, I don't gamble. I like to play cards, and this is not the kind of cards that I play. So no matter how much I resisted, they kept persisting, and immediately I lost the $200 in chips and thought, okay, they won't do that again, right? Whatever. So then the vice president decides to buy $200 worth of chips. He says, you're going to play, and we're going to keep buying these chips until you decide to learn how to play this game. Okay, fine. So then I start to ask them for advice. They both were up. One was up $4,500. The other was up $5,000, right? Okay, now this is not, I do not encourage people to gamble. I think that's stupid. Buying lottery tickets is stupid. Gambling is stupid. Stupid. It is just stupid, all right? I don't think it's wise things to do with your money. But there I am, they're buying me in, right? And they're not letting me out. So check it out. So I start, again, I know from business, all right, you find someone who has a track record, learn from them. These guys were making money, and the night before, one of them won around $9,000. So I'm like, they got a system here. I want to learn the system. So sure enough, I started asking questions, and I'm just telling him, tell me what to do, tell me what to do. I won $9,500 in an hour and a half. But hold on a second. I have to tell you what I did. So each time I won, I took the chips, I put it in my purse, and I only left $500 worth of chips out on the table. So then I won another $1,500, took $1,000 of it, put it in my purse, only left the $500 out. So then I won $2,800. I took all those chips, put it in my purse. I didn't keep all my winnings in front of me, and I gave myself a limit that as soon as I lose this $500, I'm out of here. Well, I made $9,500 in, an hour and a half. It was amazing. Have I ever gone back to play again? Nope. Will I? Nope. As far as I can tell you, nope. I will never do that again. That was a moment. But here's what I want to tell you. You're saying, why are you sharing this stupid story with me? Because the reason why I'm sharing it is this. You have to learn to take the chips off the table. You have to learn to take the money off the table, and you have to give yourself a budget and don't go over the budget. That's how you learn to invest. Now, what happened in Vegas was not investing. Those two, that vice president and that president of that company, invested $400 in chips into me, and I just learned from them what to do, and I yielded $9,500. I tried to give them the $9,500. They wouldn't take it. So I took that $9,500 and I took it home. So not the chips, but the money. So my point is this. When it comes to investing and when it comes to money, you have to understand that money is seed and it's designed to grow. That's what it's designed to do. It comes with all the right parts to grow. And the key is that you take a portion of money that you make every month, or is it every week, or every dollar that you make, you set aside a portion, you take it off the table so you don't invest, so you don't spend it on something stupid like shoes or things like that, but instead, or more clothes or more food. But instead, you take that money off the table as though it was never even yours, and then you put that in a place where that money can grow like seed. Planting corn in your garden. You plant a seed, you reap a what do you call that thing? Cob that has, well, the average they say is 256 seeds on one cob. But you got to take the money off of the table and then learn to invest it into places. Now that money is going to grow even while you are sleeping, okay? All right, so we're talking about investing. We're talking about the very beginning stages of doing that so that you can get your money working for you. This is not Wall Street talk, friend, so you don't have to go to sleep. This is simple, basic stuff. I grew up on welfare and I've made millions of dollars from investing. And I'm not talking about the kind of investing that you typically see on TV or hear about or read in books. I'm talking the basics here. The basics. All right. So going over here to Amira from Texas. Welcome to the Danny Johnson Show.
Hi, Danny. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
My question is, my husband and I were 33, and so we're fairly
young.
still young. And, you know, I guess my question is like, how do we know what's a good investment to invest into? I mean, I know besides investing to ourselves, that's priceless. But I find myself, hearing all these things, I just don't know what to believe, you know, what's good, what's bad.
Yep.
We've invested into hard assets, and I kind of regretted it because I didn't really know much about hard assets like gold and silver, but, you know, I was just doing it because I heard it was the good thing to do. So I guess my question is, how do I know that I'm being directed in the right way instead of listening to Garbo?
Exactly. And there's a lot of Garbo out there, honey, because there's always somebody selling something. You know what I mean? There's always somebody selling something. And as long as you are looking at and following the money trail, then you can kind of find what motives are. Whether they're pure or not doesn't really matter. It does matter, but everyone has motives. So let's start here. Why do you regret investing into gold and silver?
Well, because I think about 6 months ago, I saw like everything, it just like dropped.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't really, and then I knew that I didn't really know that much about it. So I felt, you know, kind of bad that I invested in something that I knew nothing about, which was, I felt kind of stupid.
Okay, listen to me. This is the first part that you need to understand, okay?
Okay.
Is investing is not short-term game, honey. It's not short-term game. It is long-term. So you actually made a wise investment into gold and silver. Just because it came down 6 months ago, that doesn't mean anything. Years from now, it's going to be greater than what you bought it at. Let me give you an example. 2005, my husband bought $100,000 worth of gold at $574 an ounce. That then eventually went up to $2,000 an ounce. It's never come back down to $500 an ounce. So through time, honey, investment is long-term. It is not short-term. And that's one of the first things you got to get through your head. No, girlfriend, pat yourself on the back that you invested. That was wise. You did the right thing. This is Danny Johnson. I hope that today you've enjoyed the Danny Johnson Show. We'll be joining you again tomorrow for another intriguing concept or content or answering your questions or helping you whatever way it is that you want help. We're here to help you. This is Danny Johnson. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.
This has been The Danny Johnson Show. If you want to hear more, visit us at DannyJohnson.com.